AITA for canceling my fiancé's credit cards and throwing him out after discovering he was cheating on me with my best friend. I, 32F, have been with my fiancé, Jake, 34M, for 5 years. We got engaged last year, and everything seemed perfect, or at least I thought it was. A little backstory. Jake and I have had our ups and downs like any couple, but we were always solid, or so I believed. I work in tech and have a pretty good job, making significantly more than Jake, who's still trying to establish himself in his career. I never minded being the primary breadwinner. I've always been happy to help him out. That's just what you do for the people you love, right? I even added Jake to my credit cards to make life easier for him since his income was inconsistent. My best friend, Emily, 31F, has been in my life since college. We met during our freshman year and hit it off instantly. Over the years, she became more like a sister to me than just a friend. She's been through thick and thin with me, supporting me during rough patches and celebrating the good times. Emily and Jake got along well, too. In fact, I used to think it was great how close they were because it felt like having a little family of my own. I never once thought it could turn into something else. But a few weeks ago, things started to feel off. Jake became unusually distant. He was glued to his phone, constantly texting, and even started taking calls in another room. When I asked him about it, he brushed it off, saying it was just work stress or dealing with some personal stuff he didn't want to burden me with. At first, I bought it. I've always trusted him, and I didn't want to be the paranoid, nagging fiancé. But it kept getting worse. Jake's behavior was textbook suspicious. Late nights, unexplained absences, and always being secretive with his phone. It was driving me crazy. I confided in Emily about it, and she comforted me, saying Jake was probably just stressed and needed space. She even told me not to worry, that things would go back to normal soon. And then the bomb dropped. One night, after Jake came home late again, he fell asleep on the couch with his phone right next to him. My gut was screaming at me that something wasn't right. I know some of you will judge me for this, but I picked up his phone. He didn't have a password because he always said he had nothing to hide. Well, that night I discovered he had been hiding a lot. I found a series of explicit messages between Jake and Emily. They were talking about meeting up behind my back, about the things they'd do together, and worst of all, about a future they were planning. One that clearly didn't include me. I felt physically ill reading their messages, my heart pounding out of my chest. I couldn't believe the two people I trusted most in the world were doing this to me. It felt like my whole reality shattered in that moment. There were messages about how they'd been sneaking around for months, how they were meant to be, and even discussions about when Jake was going to end things with me. It was the ultimate betrayal, and I felt humiliated, angry, and utterly heartbroken. The next day, when Jake was at work, I decided I wasn't going to sit around and wait for him to throw my life into further chaos. I canceled all his credit cards that were under my name, removed him from our joint account, and immediately changed the locks. I wasn't about to let him waltz back in after what he'd done. I packed up all his stuff and put it in a few suitcases on the porch with a note telling him to never contact me again. When Jake got home, he was furious. He banged on the door, yelling and calling me names, accusing me of being vindictive and cruel. He kept shouting that I was overreacting and that we needed to talk this through like adults. But honestly, I didn't see the point in talking. What was there left to say after what I saw? Emily, my so-called best friend, hasn't said a word to me since. Not even an apology or an explanation. It's like she's vanished off the face of the earth, and honestly, I hope she stays gone. I've cut off all contact with both of them, but now that the initial anger has faded, I'm starting to question if I went too far. Jake has reached out through mutual friends, saying that he's in a bad place financially and that canceling the cards has left him struggling to pay bills. I've had some friends tell me that I was right to do what I did, while others think I should have at least given him a chance to explain himself before going nuclear. And Emily, well, I don't even know what to think anymore. So, Reddit, AITA, for cutting Jake off financially, kicking him out, and cutting Emily out of my life after finding out they were cheating on me? I feel like I'm losing my mind, and I'm not sure what's right or wrong anymore.